Hello, I'm Jacob Stein. I'm an asset protection attorney in Los Angeles, California, and welcome to this quick and to the point presentation on protecting assets using a trust. So a trust is the heart and soul of asset protection planning. Why is that? Well, let's remember what is the primary goal of asset protection planning. It's to make it more difficult and more expensive for a plaintiff or a creditor to reach your assets. And how do we do that? Well, we do this primarily by taking an asset that you own and making it into an asset that you do not own. But we want to do this in such a way so that you retain control over your assets. We want to do this in such a way so that you retain the ability to transfer the assets back into your name. We want to do this in such a way so there are no tax consequences on engaging in all of these transfers. And nothing works better than a trust. So what is a trust? A trust is a legal contract. It's a contract between the person setting up the trust, called the settlor, and the trustee of the trust, which is a person you pick and appoint to be the trustee of your trust. The trustee is going to hold legal title to the assets of the trust, but the assets do not belong to the trustee. He is holding legal title for the benefit of the trust beneficiaries, usually your children. So we draft the trust agreement. What kind of a trust will this be? Well, there are two basic types of trusts. There are trusts that are revocable, and there are trusts that are irrevocable. A trust that is revocable, commonly referred to as a living trust, has very limited usefulness in asset protection planning, because if you have the ability to revoke the trust, which means you have the ability to pull your assets back out of the trust, your creditors can force you to do exactly that. And as a matter of fact, under state law, creditors are not even required to do that. If assets are titled in a trust that is revocable, creditors are allowed to place their liens on those assets. They're allowed to attach those assets. So there's very limited usefulness to a trust that is revocable. The only time we will use it is to camouflage the ownership of assets. Right? We'll create a living trust that has a generic name, meaning your name will not be included in the name of the trust. We'll call it, for example, the Cloudy Sky Trust. Some friendly party that you pick will be the trustee of the trust, so when we transfer ownership of assets to this trust, your name no longer appears on the title to the trust. That's the only usefulness of a living trust in asset protection planning. But if we want substantive protection, the trust must be irrevocable. Irrevocable means that you cannot have the legal power to get your assets out of the trust. You cannot have the legal power to change the trust in such a way so that you get the benefit of those assets. Well, that sounds like a scary thing to do, right? We're doing something that's irrevocable, it's cast in stone, it cannot be undone. Well, maybe not so. Nowadays, we are able to draft irrevocable trusts and introduce into the trust the concept of a trust protector. So the trust protector is a new position that we have created within the trust. It's in addition to the trustee, right? There's still the office of the trustee. Now, in addition to the trustee, there is the trust protector. And this trust protector, is given certain powers over the trust. The trust protector may be given the power to terminate the trust, to change the beneficiaries of the trust, to change the trustee of the trust, to return the assets of the trust back to you, to change the governing law of the trust, the language of the trust, the tax treatment of the trust, and all sorts of other things. This trust protector is a person that you pick. You appoint this person. And really, it can be anyone other than you. Can be your kids, can be your best friend, can be a family member. Okay? This person has complete control over the assets of the trust. Through this person, you indirectly retain control over your assets. And the only power you will keep over this trust is the ability to remove this trust protector and appoint a new trust protector. So irrevocable trusts are the heart and soul of asset protection planning. And it doesn't matter what the trust is called. You know, if you scour the internet for various types of asset protection trusts or estate planning trusts, all sorts of names and titles come up. These names and titles are meaningless. They're usually adopted either for marketing purposes or because they have a specific meaning in the tax law. All that you want is a trust that is irrevocable and is for the benefit of someone other than you. Your kids would be a perfect example. And then whether the trust is set up in the United States or in a foreign jurisdiction, what you call this trust, how it's treated for tax purposes, that does not matter. So long as the trust is irrevocable and someone other than you is a beneficiary of the trust, that is a good asset protection trust. And we use trusts to protect all manners of assets. Most importantly, we use irrevocable trusts for personal residences, but they can also be used to protect all sorts of other assets. I am Jacob Stein, and I hope you've enjoyed this quick presentation on the use of trusts in asset protection planning.